Today on To The Point, a Pokemon. Yeah, whatever. Roll the intro. Welcome back to The Point. My name's Michael Walker, and today we're going to be looking at a card game called Mystic Vale. It is a card game for 2 to 4 players. It was designed by John D. Clare, and it's put out by AEG Games. First, I'm going to give you the basic concepts of the game, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. Let's go. At the very beginning of the game, and at the end of every turn, you're going to get ready for the next turn. What you do is you simply turn over cards. As soon as you turn them over, this is at your on deck, and then they go into your field. And as soon as you have 3 spoils, the spoil markers are the red tree. As soon as you have 3 spoil cards, then you are ready for your first turn. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So the third one is on your on deck. It's the only time you count symbols that are on your on deck are when they're spoil symbols. So as soon as you have 3 spoil symbols, 2 in your field and 1 in your on deck, you're ready for your first turn. So now we're ready to start our turn. At the beginning of your turn, there's a push your luck aspect. So if you want more money, you can press your luck. But as soon as you get 4 of the spoil tokens showing, including your on deck, then your turn is over. So what you simply do is you put this into your field, and if the card you flip over has a spoil on it, then your turn is over. So it's not, so now you can either stop and go on to your harvest phase, or you can push your luck again. Or like this one had the gem on it, so now you might think you might have enough money, so you can push again. So you can be like a Billy, and you'll push your luck again, and you'll flip over the on deck, and look, Billy's spoiled, his turn is over. But the consolation you get is that everyone has one of these tokens. It starts the game in the inactive side. Whenever you spoil, you flip it to the active side, and you'll have an extra currency to spend on a following turn. So let's pretend we didn't spoil, and we'll go on to the harvest phase. All right, we've completed the planting phase, which is where we pushed our luck and either busted or didn't bust. So we'll say that we didn't bust. So we count up our mana symbols and we decide which cards we want to buy. We can buy cards from the advancement or from the Vale. To buy cards from the advancement, we use our mana, and to buy cards from the Vale, we count up our spirit symbols. Now there's 3 different levels. There'll be little dots underneath the cost. It'll tell you which pile they're from. There's only a certain number of level 1s, depending on how many players. When they run out, you just see the bottom row with whatever's left in the 2 or the 3. It usually doesn't last that long. So, like I said, you can buy 2 cards from here and 2 cards from there. Once you've decided what you're going to buy, you go on to the discard phase. The other things that happen is that you're going to gain victory points for cards that you have in your field. So those will be cards like the Will-o'-the-Wisp here, where it has a 2 victory point symbol. You'll collect those victory points, and then you'll move on to the discard phase. During the discard phase, you're going to take the advancements that you've purchased, and you're going to place them in the cards that are in your field. And you'll slide them into the cards like so. All the cards come with sleeves. There has to be a spot for the card to go. You can't cover up any other abilities. And once you've filled all the cards with the advancements you've bought, the Vale cards don't slide in. They just go off to the side, and they're like an ability or victory points that are just, they go on continuously throughout the game. These will go into your discard pile. And then you go to the prep phase, which is what we've already showed you, where you turn cards over until you have 2 in your field and a spoil, like 2 spoils in your field and 1 spoil on your on deck. Once your prep phase is done, it goes on to the next player, and you go around until a certain number of victory points have been claimed. It all depends on how many players there are. Once the last victory point's been claimed, you finish a round back to the first player, and then the game is over. That's pretty well it. You're buying cards. You are comboing your deck by putting new abilities in your deck. Once the victory points are done, you add them up, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. Victory points through the tokens, through the gray shields. You don't recount the blue ones, just the ones that are in the gray, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So there was a very brief description of Mystic Vale. I didn't want to go too much into it because these videos were turning into too much of a how to play than a review. So what do I think of Mystic Vale? The artwork is fantastic, and the gimmicky thing, I'm going to use the word gimmicky, of putting the cards into the sleeves is fantastic. The random game length, where it's just whenever the victory points disappears, are great. Other than that, this game is not bringing much to the table. Like, there's tons of deck builders out there. There's not much in this game. There's just like the few mechanisms that help you, deal with your spoilage and getting more victory points, and the thing with the helmets, getting more helmets on particular cards. That being said, I've wanted to play this game more than anything else for the past few weeks. It's very relaxing. It's very neat how building, customizing your own deck, but I just don't think it has the staying power. I think it really needs an expansion. It almost should have come with one right away. There should have almost been more in the box. There's no player interaction. I'm just not sure this is going to stay around very much. Like with these legacy games, they've pretty well stated, or you can say it however you want, that each game, there's so many here, how many times are you going to play them? Could be 15 times. Are you going to get your money's worth? Is it here? I think it is. I think you pick this up. The look on people's faces where you explain to them about putting the cards in, it's like giving them a lifetime membership to ice cream. When you say, okay, now these cards that you bought, you put them in the sleeves and you customize each card. It's fantastic watching them. Their faces, I was like, oh my God, right? It's great. But like I said, I think it's going to play itself out awfully quickly. Other games up here on the table, all deck builders. This is what this is. It's just a standard deck builder. Dominion, what started it all. So you can see there's tons of expansions. One's been sitting and it's still sealed. It doesn't get to the table. It's still a great game. Arctic Scavengers, it has a fantastic theme. It's a post-apocalyptic Arctic, you're getting your crew together, arming them up, fighting against each other. It's really great. Core Worlds we've played it quite a few the last few weeks. Really great game. If you've not tried Core Worlds, check it out. It's you're building up infantry and starfighters and attacking each planet. You need a little bit of both or all of one, and you're just trying to collect victory points and create this cool army as you go out. And then there's the classic Mage Knight, which is like an adventure-y deck builder. Like you're collecting abilities and things to move. It's got like multi-use cards. It's hand manipulation. It is fantastic. If you haven't tried it out, try it out. So that's Mystic Vale. I think that's all I wanted to cover in this. My name's Mike Walker. This is To The Point. Please check out Dice Tower, Board Game Breakfast, Throw Punt Lunch. I'll see you next week.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.